During these difficult days, when we find our well crafted plans for the present and future fractured due to the direct or collateral effect of the pandemic, it's important for us to stay focused on finishing well. When the day arrives for each of us to meet our Maker, can we, as Paul did, say, I fought the good fight, I finished the race, I kept the faith? I pray that whenever that day arrives, each of us will have the pleasure to say that. In the meantime, let's not lose heart as life happens and some dreams get broken. Let's soldier on and not just finish our race. Instead, let's faithfully finish our race well. As we face troubles in our life, let's hold on to God's promise and assurance to Moses, which Jesus repeated as well. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Truth be told, even if the pandemic never happened or the year 2020 is removed from our calendars, don't you think we all would have experienced some setback or the other? Don't you think life would have tossed some unanticipated loss our way? There's no doubt that this would have happened. So where does this idea of finishing well fit into all of this? It's about persevering on in the midst of difficulties and with the grace of God, focusing our energy on making the most of the situation we find ourselves in. It's about completing our race well, despite circumstances. Let's turn our attention to the lives of two people in the Bible to make all of this relevant today. In this video, I'm limiting myself to two thoughts on finishing well. I'll do a follow-up video or two on this important topic later. The first point I'd like to make, which should be a matter of comfort and assurance to all of us, is that to finish well in the race of life, it is really unimportant how you started the race. There is no person in the world who had a greater start than the person I'll be introducing you to. The verse that God gives us immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine is best suited for him, King Solomon. He asked for wisdom, and God not only made him the wisest man of his time, he also gave him immeasurable wealth. No one possibly had a better start than Solomon. But this great start did not guarantee that he finished well. We read that despite all his knowledge and wisdom, he broke several rules that he was aware of, that kings were commanded to follow as per the Mosaic law. This resulted in his accumulating innumerable wives and concubines that led him to encourage idolatry. Rather than trusting God, he put his trust in horses and chariots. His construction projects for his palace outweighed his expenses on the temple and placed such a huge economic burden on the people that on his death, the kingdom he inherited broke up forever. Conclusion: great starts don't guarantee a great finish. Joseph, on the other hand, had a very poor start, from the pit his brothers threw him into, to being sold as a slave and ending up in Potiphar's place before landing in a prison cell on fabricated charges. It was a long road of trouble, setbacks, and misery. But in all of this, Joseph remained steadfast in his faith, and his dependence on God saw him finish off as a person of integrity who also was a savior of many people during the 7 years of famine, both in his home country as well as those in his adopted country. Conclusion: even a horrible start can have a great finish. That's a matter of comfort for those of you who feel the pandemic has thrown you into a pit or a prison. With God's help, you will get the chance to finish well by staying focused and depending on God. So how do we define finishing well? In my opinion, it's about ending our race by God's grace with integrity, peace, joy, and hopefully leaving a legacy. Any visit to a graveyard is a sobering experience to ones who are left behind. As we read what's written on different tombstones, we realize the entire life of the person is reduced to a dash between the two important dates in their lives. This is my dad's tombstone, he finished his race quite early but finished very well. His legacy still lives in the lives of several people, including me. Finishing well is to have a legacy which lives beyond the dash on our tombstones. My video next week will deal with how we can live our lives in a manner worthy of what God created us for and leave a legacy. Finish well. God bless us as we take courage during these days and stay focused and finish well and leave a legacy.